It's the 11th of December 2025. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. Thank you for joining me. In this video, I want to track the chance of the next named storm impacting parts of Europe. We'll track that. Plus, watching all of these spins riding back through the North Atlantic. This one here, right by Iceland, the tail end of that, clipping by some areas. So I also want to track some periods of heavier rain. We'll look at the rain totals, the snow depth, some gustier winds, and then the potential of the next named system. Let's start with that and go kind of long term here. So this is where we stand now. We've got one spin right here in the North Atlantic, the tail end of that providing some rain, which we will track together, right? That lifts to the north. Then this weekend, watching two spins, one right here, southwest of Iceland, one just to the northeast. Both of these spins, not super strong, but as they rotate up, they rotate in some rain. And then by the middle of next week, this is probably catching your attention. Strong winds near Iceland, Greenland, but never take your eye off the ball. It's actually this piece right here, this spot here, that could be the potential of the named system. As this lifts up to the north, look at that develop right there and start to head toward Ireland as we work our way deeper into next week. This would be by Thursday of the next working week. So you got one big spin lifting up here, but it's that piece of energy that rotates around it. Just like we saw with Storm Bram, same idea, where you get some of this energy lifting up to the north. As it lifts in latitude, there's more of a spin with it, some stronger winds, and that's what could move in. Now, this is several days away, right? We're looking at about a week from now. This no doubt can change, and trust your judgment on all of this, but I like to look ahead as we try to find what could be impactful next in the weather, and that's why I do this channel, to help give us the heads up on what's going on. So let's track this as well with looking at the kind of the rain outlook, the rain potential of this. Here is this weekend, right? What I was just showing you. One spin here. These are the two spins. Another one here. And with it, you get these bands of rain moving in. I'll zoom down into this sector here and we'll zoom all around, trying to cover everyone. Do my best not to leave anyone out, no doubt. And then as we work our way into Sunday, you see again the tail end of some energy right here. Another shot of rain. Here's that spin that was southwest and now south of Iceland as we work our way into Sunday. Looking ahead though, as we get long term into next week, this here is by Wednesday. Here's that large spin here, once again rotating in rain, but it's this pocket here. Not as much that, although impactful for Greenland and Iceland. Gusty winds, not losing sight of that, but it's this area here that will start to lift to the north. This has the potential of becoming the next named system. We'll see if it does or not, but either way, the potential of stronger winds, heavier rain, keeping an eye on Portugal, Spain, France, right through the UK and Ireland once again, and we'll see how this evolves. Maybe this is a little bit more over here, maybe it's a little bit more to the south. Being a week from time, as I mentioned, we'll get some changes, but right here, this is what we're watching. Again, there'll be a large spin working across early to mid in the week. It'll be a piece of energy to the south of it that could potentially wind up and be a big wind and rain maker deeper into next week. Now, shorter term as promised, here's that spin near Iceland, right? So watching this, some rounds of rain at times. This is for tonight, and then we work our way forward in time. This here is tomorrow. Some showery weather. Watching Norway as we swing back towards Scotland, clipping by Ireland. We may catch a couple showers. Then on Saturday, I mentioned there's two spins to the north, so another round of rain. Northern Ireland back towards Scotland. Some pockets of heavier rain. Not as much Wales and England. And then keeping an eye on Norway. We'll expand out the view in just a second, but this here's our Saturday. This rain Saturday night starts to work across. Then by Sunday, with this spin sitting here, here's Iceland, there's more of that rain again feeding in to parts of the UK, Ireland, and Norway. So some spots getting repeat rain, which means at least some ponding in some areas. So watching out for an isolated flood threat, depending on location, depending on terrain, as we work our way into this upcoming weekend. Now here's the spin here. Here's Iceland to widen out the view. Norway, Sweden, Finland, Germany, Poland, Latvia, just to kind of orient you. Here's Denmark. You see some of that rain that works in as we get into our Friday evening. Of course, snow in some spots back toward toward Norway. Watching Iceland, the active pattern continues. Here's that rain on Saturday moving through parts of the UK and Ireland, and then you can see how this kind of works across Saturday into Sunday. So as we get deeper into Saturday, this pocket of rain, which is heavy at times, works in Saturday night into Sunday. You see it here with some rain, snow, Sweden, Finland, back toward Norway, and then we watch that next round of rain that will be lifting in, which will do similar, and eventually that'll work its way toward the North Sea and work its way toward Norway as we get into early in the week. Now this spot here, much calmer than about a week or two ago. The Balkans back toward Italy, Switzerland, Austria. There's been kind of a bubble of nice weather. There's been some rain at times. Turkey. We go out in time here watching this though. This is tomorrow or Friday. Watching the rain, parts of Spain, Portugal, those batches of rain coming in from the Atlantic side as we work our way into Saturday. You see how it's rather settled. Poland, the chance of some showers. Elsewhere, we're looking okay. And then as we work our way into Sunday, most of the weather sitting over here, could see a few showers swinging back toward parts of Spain, and a couple more showers, maybe a little bit of snow as we work our way toward Ukraine. But you see how it is much more settled in this sector. Now looking ahead at some of the wave heights, this is our Friday, and you can see those seas building back through the North Sea and then lifting up to the north, but even more so. So this is our Friday. Let's jump ahead into our Saturday, and you can see again those higher seas right near Norway swinging all the way down to the south. So monitoring those elevated seas, that will be with us, no doubt. Now looking at the rain, with a couple rounds of rain working in, I mentioned Scotland, south and west, back through Ireland, some spots at white shading, even that black shading. We could have some spots 100 to 150 millimeters of rain. That's why I mentioned the flood potential just through the weekend. That flood potential will be there in spots. Sharp contrast. We get toward the Netherlands, over toward Brussels, back toward Paris, swinging to the south. So Amsterdam, London, mainly on the dry side. England back toward the west and south, or rather east and south, generally dry. So it really depends on location. We swing here, and the same thing as you get toward the Iberian Peninsula, Spain, back toward Portugal, watching out for some of the rain in here western sections, but not as much to the east. But we'll see a little bit of moisture trying to build in over toward Valencia, coming in off the Mediterranean. Here's that bubble of rather settled weather for the most part, but Belarus, Ukraine, south, parts of Turkey still seeing a mix of rain, some snow at times, but it has been a little bit more settled in this sector. Then we lift to the north. Of course, some of this is snow depending on your exact location, but all of this is a very active area here. Elsewhere, it would just be some light rain showers for the most part, and some snow showers. Looking at that current snow depth, always updating this for you, and you can see again we're going to add to this, especially back toward Norway, parts of Sweden and Finland, all the way into next week, and back toward Iceland too, as these new systems continue to arrive. Watching some of that snow depth in through here, but we haven't added too much to this because again, this sector in here, right, that's been that drier pocket, and that's going to continue for the most part, not for all of us, but for the most part into the upcoming weekend. So not adding on too much as far as snow depth goes. So active northern storm pattern across the North Atlantic, which is typical for this time of year as all these systems moving in. But late next week, that's when there could be a named system mid to late next week. Remember that big spin near Greenland and Iceland, but that pocket just to the south that may try to develop with higher winds and a flood potential. And that's what we'll be tracking together. So thank you for taking the time to subscribe, share this channel with your friends and family as we build this weather community together. Have a good rest of your day.